Welfare is increasing by $50. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this media release from Prime Minister Scott Morrison, because welfare is increasing, but not as much as some people had anticipated. $50 a fortnight additional money for those on welfare. $25 extra a week. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but $25, you can buy some food for it. It can improve your quality of life if you're vigilant and watching out for what's going on with your money and got control of your budget. But let's have a look at the Morrison government announcement and then how the media is responding. Before we look at it though, let me ask you, do you think this is enough? Do you think $50 a fortnight is enough? Now, my concern is if we make welfare too generous, as what occurred with regards to the job seeker bonuses and all these boosts, it creates a disincentive for people to work. If you have low skills and you can't demand a higher pay in the market, your options are a low skilled job, the effort, energy and burden required to go work can often make it, well, not really worth the trouble for the additional money you get compared to welfare. And then the problem is if that carries on from one generation to the next, you can have intergenerational welfare dependency, and you can have some people that have never had a role model in their family that has ever worked. That's the real scary prospect of all of this, of entering a recession. So, but if you don't keep up with the cost of living, it's going to be harder for people to, well, survive. Honestly, I would argue, I always saw welfare as a temporary emergency payment to keep people out of destitution, to keep people who don't have their own emergency fund from resorting to crime or living starving or not having access to basic things. Is that an outdated view, guys? Am I outdated with that? Do some people expect welfare to be enough to live a comfortable life on? Should it be that? Let me know what you think, guys. I'll probably do a poll on it to ask people. Maybe I'm just out of date. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe people want it to be UBI. But having a situation where people don't have to work, what do you think's going to happen then? People won't work. A lot of them won't, everyone. And you can't have an economy or a nation thriving when you have a lot of people just being lazy and not working, not contributing. Spending money that you get for nothing, that's not really contributing to a nation, is it? I hate to tell you that, guys. If you think it is, it really isn't. You're not really adding value. So let's have a look at this. The Morrison government is enhancing our social security safety net by increasing support for unemployed Australians while strengthening their obligations to search for work. From March, the coalition government will progressively introduce a series of permanent measures to ensure that job seekers have the best opportunity to secure employment as our nation continues to recover from the economic challenges of COVID-19. What I would like to see is special economic regions where we remove certain impediments to employing people, to firing people, and we compensate people for that additional risk by reducing the state burden on them. And then we can test and see and compare so we can have some actual lived experience. That'd be good, wouldn't it? I can't see there any politician being brave enough to suggest that here in Australia. I think we're all a little too socialist here in Australia. It really feels like everyone wants the government to take care of them. They probably trust them a little bit too much. Hopefully that will change. So, they're permanently increasing the rate of working age payments by $50 a fortnight from the 1st of April, benefiting 1.95 million Australians. Why did they choose April 1? It's April Fool's Day. They should have chosen another day, just for the optics. I know they have to do it with all the quarters, but still. Permanently increase the income-free earnings to $150 per fortnight for job seeker payment and youth allowance other from April 1. Okay, so they can earn more money. Temporarily extend the waiver of the ordinary waiting period for certain payments for a further 3 months to the 30th of June 2021. Temporarily extending the expanded eligibility criteria for job seeker payment and youth allowance for those required to self-isolate or care for others as a result of the pandemic to the 30th of June. There will also be changes to the mutual obligation scheme. Now, this was pretty much... A lot of people got welfare, but they haven't got a taste of the actual scheme. You know, all the hoops you have to jump through. I suspect it's done intentionally this way to discourage people from getting welfare because of all the pain you have to jump through in these job agencies. I mean, they don't sound like... Okay, this is going to be real mean, but you're not going to be the cream of the crop if you're working at a job agency, are you? You know, does anyone really aspire to a career in a job agency? Maybe I'm being really mean. Maybe that's just my arrogant bias coming through here, but I can't imagine anyone going as a kid, I want to work in a job agency. I mean, am I being too mean there, guys? Is there a career path there? Is it just, you know, a bureaucratic nightmare? One time I went into a Centrelink recently. I think I got the dad stay-at-home money. You know, when you have a kid, you can take a holiday, take care of your children, your baby. So of course, you know, I got that, and I bought a chest freezer with the free money they're giving me. Hey, it's an investment. It saved us a lot of money over the last few years. But I just remember going in that space and thinking, yeah, nah. So let me know. I mean, is it a career that people aspire to? You know, work up the public service. Like maybe they want to help people, or maybe I'm out of date. So, job seekers will be required to search for a minimum of 15 jobs a month from early April, increasing to 20 jobs per month from the 1st of July. An employer reporting line will be established to refer job seekers who are not genuine about their job search or decline the offer of a job. So if you offer someone a job, you can, and they decline it, you can dob them in. Some job seekers will be required to participate in Work for the Dole after 6 months. Job seekers can choose to participate in an improved, intensive short course instead of participating in Work for the Dole. Well, hopefully that you'd learn some actual skills here. Because, I mean, if you're getting to this point where you need a government short course or something to get you a job, maybe there's some skills you need to improve on. Although I can't imagine it'd be any good. I still remember the CD they gave us when we got married about, you know, basic marriage guide from the government. Money, so much. This is the type of stuff the government wastes money on, guys. Maybe we should look at the education system if we're getting to a point where you want to give people short courses. Or maybe I'm being unfair. I mean, it would be a nightmare for me to try and find a real job now. I mean, I've been self-employed forever, as long as I can remember, actually having to put a resume in and wear a suit and tie. I think I've forgotten how to tie a tie. Guys, it's been so long. I've gotten so lazy working from home. It's awesome. Job seekers return to compulsory face-to-face services with job active providers. Increased auditing of job applicants to ensure job seekers are making genuine applications. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the plan for working age payments is fair and sustainable for both unemployed people and taxpayers who fund the support. Welfare is a safety net, not a wage supplement. We want to get the balance right between providing support for people and incentives to work, the Prime Minister said. Well, there's one thing that's provided a lot of opportunities, a lot of jobs for people, and that's Ubering. I did it for a stint. I can't say it's the most profitable way to earn money, but it's a way to keep cash flow coming in. It's also a way to network and meet people. I got drafting jobs out of doing Ubering. I wouldn't do it again unless I really had to. My car's probably too old now. But, I mean, that keeps people out of the unemployment queues, guys. That was a foreign company that came in that completely ignored all the rules, that destroyed the state-controlled monopoly on personal transport and innovated. And that's created jobs, employment, and opportunity. Nothing what they're saying here is doing that. This is just the same old stuff, guys. You know, okay, we'll chuck you another $50 and we're going to implement all the same rules again. I think there'll be a lot of people that have been through all this rubbish. You just to ask people about these job agents, the job providers, or these job search places. And I'm sure there are people in there that mean the best and want to help people, but I'm sure there are a lot of people that just go in there for a paycheck and just struggle to find people work. I mean, if you're really struggling, I would suggest, I was talking to a viewer the other day. He was a young architecture graduate, or he's finished the first course, looking at going to the second one, and he's asking advice about, suggestions on how to move forward. And I said, what I'd normally tell people would be to try and get work as a student, work while you study, would be to get out there and network, go to functions, go to events, meet people. But the poor guy lives in Danistan, so he can't that advice kind of goes out the window. But that's something you can do if you want to network and, go to social events. You can't afford it. That's the problem too. I'm thinking like a professional if you're trying to get out there, but also look at using the time that you have to upskill, to learn new skills. So if you're just sitting there not working, say, okay, I'm going to learn something. I'll teach myself how to make videos. I'll teach myself how to make a computer game. I'll teach myself, a new tool or a new program. So I may have been unemployed for a few months, but then I've learned this entirely new skill set. There's lots of stuff you can learn online that can help at least give you a point of difference if you're going for a job, if you're going for an office job or something like that, to show that you haven't been doing nothing. That's the problem. If you become apathetic, it's going to be harder the older you get. That's the thing that hasn't been addressed here, because you've got Job Maker, which is purposely discriminating for the younger people because they don't want to have unemployment scarring, which I understand. But once you hit over 50, that's kind of why people need to prepare so you're not dependent on these people, so you're not jumping through their hoops. So the actions we have taken this year successfully cushioned us against the impact of the pandemic and mean that we no longer need to rely on the emergency supports which have sustained us over the past 12 months. And this is going to be the real test when they pull the tablecloth under the table, if everything remains standing. Now is the time to set our nation up for the future and build on our successes, which will see Australia once again emerge stronger, safer and tougher. But he's just saying that they're just doing the same thing. How is anything they're proposing here, is any of this different, guys? Is any of it new or innovative? There's no innovation here. It's just the same old stuff. Okay, now you can dob in the bludgers who won't work. Ha ha ha. Come on. There's nothing brave here. But then it's ScoMo, isn't it? He doesn't really come across as someone brave or innovative. The $9 billion commitment. $9 billion. Think how much money they've friddled away on other things, guys, just recently. $9 billion is the largest ever budget measure for working age payments and is the single biggest year-on-year increase to the rate of unemployment benefits since 1986. That's shocking, guys. $50 a fortnight is the single biggest increase since 86. Is Australia the lucky country, guys? You're feeling proud living here? Is this the country you'd go and proudly fight for? I wonder. I really wonder. You've got a whole generation that's been screwed over. You've got debt piled onto your kids. Yourself or your kids. You can't even get a house. If there was a call to arms, how many people would go, nah, stuff it? I wonder. I really wonder. Minister for Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, Michaela Cash, said the changes to mutual obligations would provide better support for job seekers in their search for work. We know that most job seekers are doing the right thing in trying to find employment. However, a small minority are actively trying to game the system. The new employer reporting line will be set up from April to ensure those doing the wrong thing are identified, Minister Cash said. Job seekers who have been unemployed for at least 6 months will also be required to participate in an activity, such as a short training course or work for the dole, in addition to their job search activities. Minister for Families and Social Services, Anna Ruston, said the government has stood side by side all Australians during the pandemic and will continue to do so through permanent changes to strengthen our income support system. Since April 2020, our comprehensive payment system will help to deliver more than $33 billion in emergency income support payments, including the supplement, and 4 economic support payments, with the last of which will start flowing to our pensioners from next week, Minister Ruston said. Our government has always made sure that the rate of income support payments has kept pace with the cost of living through twice-yearly indexation, but this announcement marks the first real increase in the rate of unemployment benefits in more than 25 years. Yeah, I don't know, they shouldn't be, should they be saying that, or does it just sound bad, really? I mean, we've had a lot of Labour government, we've had a whole lot of governments in this period. What we're announcing is significant, but also sustainable, because we must make sure our social security safety net is available into the future should our children fall in tough times. Well, see, this is the thing. I want to teach my children to not trust the state, to not depend on them, to not expect them to take care of you. I'm teaching them to, what you want to do is you want to save money and invest in ways so that you can make a cash machine, so that can generate passive income for you. I'm teaching this to my 8-year-old. You don't want people to expect the government to take care of you, because they're not. They're not, okay? All that money you pay for them, if you think that the taxes you pay are going to take care of you when you need it, don't fall for it, guys. It's spin. You're paying for the bureaucrats that will feel empowered to run this rubbish. This is why, when people say, let's implement UBI, I love the idea of every welfare employee, everyone working for the Department of Social Services, instantly fired and transferred automatically onto UBI. Then they'd have to get a real job, because you wouldn't need as many people for it. Can you see the unions letting that happen? Can you see any politicians letting that happen, everyone? So let's have a look at how the media is responding to this. We've got, federal government announces $50 a fortnight boost to welfare payments. So the government's job seeker increase by $50 a fortnight has been panned, described as a heartless betrayal to millions of Australians. Well, yeah, okay, guys, that's what you realise about the government. And I don't know how the lefties can. Well, this is the problem. You've got both sides of politics, both flavours of economic interventionists, just going nuts now with the spending. The Prime Minister has been criticised by Australia's National Advocate welfare body, while a Green Senator has provided a blunt reply over the federal government's job seeker increase. The federal government announced that more than 1.95 million Aussies on welfare will receive a boost of $50 a fortnight, or $3.57 a day, at the end of March. Scott Morrison announced a rise to the rate of the job seeker payment at a cost of $9 billion on Tuesday, but not everyone is happy. The move follows a long-running campaign from welfare advocates who say unemployed Australians cannot live on $40 a day. Well, it's not meant to. Here's the thing. If you can't live on $40 a day, the idea is that you get a job so you don't have to live on $40 a day. Or that if you're in a family unit, traditionally, you are meant to be in a family. There's a whole family that comes together that takes care of each other. So the $40 a day will help you ease your burden on the rest of the family unit, or take care of the people that you have to take care of if there's 2 people working, which is now the de facto expected requirement these days. But no, you don't need that. You need to be brave and independent, hey? The base rate of job seeker is currently $570.80 a fortnight, but pressure has been mounting on the government to raise the rate with the $150 coronavirus supplement for welfare recipients ending in late March. I mean, here's the question. Should they have not raised it that much? They've given people a taste of more money for not working. From April 1, job seekers, single parents and young people on welfare payments will receive $25 extra a week. They'll get $620.80 a fortnight. Job seeker recipients getting Commonwealth rent assistance will get $760 a fortnight. Single parents with a child under the age of 8 will receive $850.20 a fortnight. People on job seeker over the age of 60 or who care for a child over the age of 8 will receive $676 a fortnight, including the energy supplement. Mr. Morrison said the government enhanced the social safety net with the COVID supplement to ensure it could respond to the overwhelming demand placed on it as people found themselves unemployed because of the pandemic. We're now confident that at the end of the next month that our social safety net can once again be able to provide for the support it needs to Australians as we come out of the recession, he said. But we've also formed the view that the base level of support that exists within our social safety nets is It needs to be adjusted for the long term, $50 a fortnight, as we've said. The boost is the single biggest increase since '86 and raises the rate from 37.5% to 41.2% of the national minimum wage. So the senator, I'm assuming, yes, well, everyone's making fun of $25 a week. $25 a week, it does not feel like a lot of money. But if you're smart with your money, it can make a difference. It can. Don't frown on it, guys. You're better than nothing. They didn't have to give you anything. They don't care about you, okay? Don't pretend and expect that there's, you know, the social contract isn't all just BS. So, I've been calling him an increase $25 a day, not a week. Can you imagine that? $65 a day for not working. What are these people saying? You've got to actually work, guys. You can't just give everyone money for nothing. The money has to come from somewhere. And right now, the government's running up debt upon debt upon debt. We can't just keep doing this. People have to work. I know the Greens live in a fantasy world. They really do. I don't know if she's a Green, but I'll just presume. Come on. Oh, well, yep, she's a Green. Green Senator Rachel Seward said in a statement, it was extremely distressing day for the 1.5 million people on the job seeker payment. $44 a day is not enough to live on. This will mean people going without meals. Well, okay, okay. Here's the thing. You want to go without a meal, mate? You can. In humanity, we didn't evolve eating 3 meals a day, guys, okay? You didn't. Didn't happen. Hunter-gatherers weren't eating 3 meals a day. We became fat and lazy when we became farmers. Well, you look at here's an interesting thing I learned recently. You look at the ancient Egyptians. Look at all of the actual accurate depictions of them. They're all fat. They're all fat with wheat bellies. Guys, they're getting diabetes back then. So, I know this is the thing. Everyone's terrified of skipping a meal like it's the end of the world. Try OMAD out, guys. That'll save you money. You've got to remember, body fat is the ultimate emergency reserve, emergency fund. That is your evolutionary emergency fund. So if you're someone who can pack on the kilos and has trouble getting rid of it, in some ways that's really good. Because you have evolved, or your ancestors have gotten the skills to survive during the bleak times. Means, you know, you pack it on when the food is plentiful, and then in winter, when all the skinny people are passing out because they don't have enough to keep them going, your genes have survived. So, you know, it's carried on. Now the problem is the good times never end, and you're getting all of these things imported from all over the world that you shouldn't be eating in this season, and it's crazy. So, I mean, there you go. If someone tries to fat shame you, say, thank you, it's an evolutionary adaptation. We're just, you know, a little bit too, well, the times are too good right now. You know, so that's another perspective to take on it. Not that I'm saying don't think it's healthy, particularly with all the seed oils we eat, but still, you've got to realize that there is a you know, evolutionary and historical advantage to it. So, anyway, let's keep going. This should not be happening in a country as wealthy as Australia. This is an appalling slap in the face for all those people trying to survive on JobSeeker. It is a complete and utter joke. It makes a mockery of the government, saying that they care about those that are doing it tough in this country. Australian Council of Social Services CEO Dr. Cassandra Goldie has demanded a permanent increase of at least $25 a day and warned an increase should not come at the expense of other vital allowances. However, the expected rise falls well short of her expectations. We cannot leave people to make impossible choices between food, rent, bills, basic toiletries and medications, she said. Everyone should be able to cover the basics of their life, including people with disabilities and single parents who are on the job seeker payment. Well, single parents, don't they also get the family tax benefit as well? So they forget to mention that. If you're not working and and your income's so low, you get that as well. That's additional money too. And I mean that tapers out when you earn money as a family unit, but it is, you know, it's welfare for people on this level. They never mention that. I find that funny. This is a heartless betrayal because Rachel couldn't understand how some people could live with, you know, 4 kids unemployed until she figured it out. This is a heartless betrayal of millions of people with the least including hundreds of thousands of children, single parents, people with disabilities. The disabilities also get pay anyway. Older people, students, people dealing with illness and injury, and others relying on income support. See, I would rather the government reduces the burden they put on us for our entire lives, and maybe has, improves our education system to insist that people develop financial literacy skills and invest in a way to provide for themselves. Or is that just too naive and hopeful? That's the plan. If you've got young children, train them up so that they are not ever going to have to be dependent on the state, that they're making too much passive income from investments they've cobbled together to even bother jumping through the hoops of dealing all of this bureaucratic rubbish. But then you'll have a generation that isn't dependent on the government, and then the lefties will lose all their votes. All of a sudden when people are financially independent, they'll start going, well, stuff your rules. I would rather keep more of my money. Thank you very much. I don't need you. That's probably why. Maybe I'm going too conspiracy theorist, guys, but maybe that's... What do you reckon? Already at $51 a day with the temporary supplement, people on JobSeeker are currently being forced to make... Oh, come on. This is bullshit. Okay, it's life. Guys, that's life. If you're not making any money, you've got to make tough decisions. I've had to do that. Here, when we had, when our money came really... often it would be people wouldn't pay us. We'd have clients outstanding with bills for long periods of time. Some of them were multimillionaires. We had to pay our staff. We had to pay our mortgage. Well, what can't we pay? I think the longest we've ever done was 6 months without hot water because we couldn't afford to repair the hot water system. While my wife was pregnant. I've got a good wife. She can tolerate a lot. So, having to overcome adversity, and then from that... hopefully getting better financial control of your situation, that can be a good thing for us. There's certain things I won't do now in business. I won't take on any consultants under me to take on that financial burden, because usually, even if I'm depending on a third party, even if it's the government wanting me to work for them, they're meant to pay you on time. I won't do it anymore. I've learned my hard lessons. I've been through some tough times to realize those mistakes, and sometimes you need to go through some tough times to come out smarter at the end. Or that seems to have been lost as well. The Prime Minister backed the move in Canberra, describing the $9 billion price tag as a considerable expense to taxpayers. Well, everything's a considerable expense. You can't... Here's the thing. Liberal have lost their ability to criticize money splurging now. They really have. I've no doubt that whatever rate you set the payment, there will always be suggestions by some that it should be more. There'll be some who will suggest it should be less. That is why a government has to exercise judgment in getting that balance right. Under further changes, the income-free area will be raised to $150. We said that. JobSeeker will, yep, 15 a day. And we've read nothing else really added here. Oh, here, let's have a look. Here we go. What is he saying here? What's Canavan saying? National Senator Matt Canavan told Sky News that before the coronavirus pandemic, I thought it was fair to look at increasing the unemployment assistance because it was very low. That was all before we racked up $1 trillion up on the nation's credit card, he said. I just think we're borrowing too much from overseas, too much from the Chinese government. We can't put ourselves in that kind of vulnerable position. He said $50 a fortnight may be a reasonable rise, but he said he would look at it closely. Every decision now post-coronavirus has to be evaluated on how much we're going to borrow and how much debt we are racking up. Well, yeah, it's future generations are getting this burden. Do you want future generations to be paying for your welfare? Should they? Should they? They're going to be growing up in a time when houses are more expensive. So you got some people that maybe what if they, someone has a $1 million house, and then future generations are paying for their welfare now. So, this is why you want the government to kind of step back and more responsibility put on the individuals. So then if people suddenly have no work anymore through whatever happens, they have the means to take care of themselves. You remove the expectation of the state. And then what will you have? You'll have charity returning and providing those provisions. You don't want the charities in bed with the government either, because then the government influences them too. Opposition Social Services spokeswoman Linda Burney said Labor would look at any changes to welfare supplements and the requirements to apply for jobs when the government unveils the new rate. I want to see whether it's a permanent increase or a temporary increase. Labor has not committed to an amount it would raise JobSeeker by if it was in government. I'm surprised. They probably would have said $500. So there we have it, everyone. Welfare is increasing $50 a fortnight. What do you think? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's too much? Let's have a look at some of the... I did a survey on my channel. Let's jump over and have a look at that one to see what people are saying. I'll just have to find it here on the community tab. What do we have here? Rent hike, financially better off, withdrawing your super. I've had a few. Well, here's, have you ever been on New Start? What were your experiences? 7% said yes on it for the first time, 26% at various times, 6% during the last recession, 39% have never been unemployed, and 23% have been on their savings. But asked, should JobSeeker be raised? 37% of you said yes. 37% said yes. 4% said yes, people should only work if they want to. So there's the utopian communist there. And 7% said link it to the pension. So you have it similar to the pension for the rate there. 22% said no, return it to $40. And 30% said no, we should abolish welfare. So 52% are saying no, either keep it at its level or abolish it, where 48% said it should be raised to a certain level. So there we go, guys. Do you agree with that? Do you think it should be raised? Do you think it's too high? Do you think this will exacerbate the difficulty in finding workers? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Personally, I want to hopefully instill the skills and entrepreneurial spirit in my children that they shouldn't need to depend on this, but we'll see. You never know what life can happen. So having something there that can at least take care of people and ensure there's no level of destitution or crime is a reasonable thing. What do you think? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. You can also join MeetRx or SelfWealth and help us get free personal coaching sessions or share trades that way too. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.